Leadership is a word we often associate with big titles, organizations, or people who stand at the front of the room. But true leadership, at its core, begins in the quietest of places, within your own life. Before you can lead anyone else, you must learn how to lead yourself. And leading yourself is not about perfection or control, it's about alignment, it's about clarity, it's about living with purpose that feels true to who you really are. I want to share something I once struggled with deeply. Growing up, I had opportunities to hold various leadership positions, whether at school or at work. But for a long time, I didn't see myself as a leader. In fact, I shrank away from the very idea. I firmly believed that I belonged behind the scenes, away from the spotlight. I thought, who am I to lead? Who am I to get anyone else when half the time I don't even know what I'm doing? My picture of leadership was shaped by authority figures, bosses, and public figures, the kind of people who seem to have it all figured out. Compared to that image, I felt small, messy, and unsure. But here's what I didn't realize at the time: leadership doesn't mean having all the answers, it doesn't mean never stumbling. Real leadership comes from authenticity, from the courage to stand rooted in what matters to you, and from the willingness to take responsibility for your own life. You and I lead every single day, whether we notice or not. Every choice you make sets a direction. Every time you choose to act with integrity or to ignore it, you are leading yourself. Every time you say yes or no, every boundary you set, every vision you commit to, you're shaping not only your own path, but also the energy that touches those around you. That's what leadership really is: influence born from how you show up in your own life. Think of the people you admire. Chances are, what you respect most about them isn't that they're flawless, right? I'm gonna take a guess that it's probably because they have a presence, a clarity, a groundedness in their values. They're not trying to be someone they're not. They embody something true. That's what makes their leadership magnetic. And the same possibility lives within you. You don't need a title, you don't need permission. The leader you're searching for is already inside you, waiting for you to awaken. And I like to call that leader your inner dragon. And when you begin to live from that place, when you awaken that inner dragon of yours, something shifts. You stop drifting on the currents of other people's expectations. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you what to do or who to be. Instead, you start choosing your own direction, not based on fear or approval, but based on what you know deep down is right for you. I want to be honest with you. This isn't easy. Self leadership requires courage because the moment you begin to lead your own life, you inevitably face resistance, sometimes from others, sometimes from within yourself. There will be moments of doubt when the easier path would be to let someone else decide, to follow the crowd, to blend in rather than stand tall. But true leadership, the kind that comes from within, asks you to walk through that discomfort and return again and again to your values. I remember a time when I was at a crossroads. If you've been watching my videos, you probably know that seems to be a recurring theme of my life. But anyways, at the time, on the outside, it looked like I was doing well. But inside, I was confused because the direction I was heading didn't match the deeper purpose I carried. It felt like I was living someone else's definition of success. And for a long while, I ignored it. I told myself to be grateful, to keep going, to not rock the boat. But the more I avoided it, the louder the misalignment became until I started searching for my life purpose. That was when I realized I had to make a choice. I could keep following the safe, expected path, or I could begin leading myself toward a life that felt authentic, even if it scared me. That choice didn't happen in a single moment. It unfolded slowly, one step at a time. And trust me, there were so many moments when I questioned my decision. Why the heck did I put myself in this difficult situation? But each step I took toward alignment built my strength. And slowly, I began to understand. Leadership is not about one grand gesture. It's about the small, daily choices to live in truth. When you awaken the leader within you, clarity follows. Clarity doesn't mean you always know the outcome. It doesn't mean the path will be straight or simple. So it's important to learn to surrender. But we'll save that for another video. Clarity means you know your values, you know your why, and you allow those truths to guide you. And when clarity is paired with purpose, your life gains momentum, not the frantic, rushed momentum of trying to prove yourself, but the steady, anchored momentum of living in alignment. And here's something beautiful. When you begin to lead yourself in this way, you naturally inspire others, not by telling them what to do, not by trying to control, but simply by the example of your presence. People are drawn to authenticity. They can feel when someone is living from a place of clarity and purpose, and it gives them permission to do the same. That's the quiet power of leadership. It ripples outward, far beyond what you can see. So, how do you begin? It starts with courage. But courage doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes courage is a whisper, the decision to choose what's right for you, even when it's uncomfortable. Courage is returning to alignment after you've strayed. It's admitting when you're wrong, adjusting when you've lost sight of what matters, and trying again. That is leadership too. I want to give you a practice you can take with you, something simple but powerful. Think of it as a way of strengthening the muscle of self leadership. Sometime today, I invite you to take out a piece of paper and write down three values that matter most to you. Not what you think should matter, not what others have told you to prioritize, but what you know deep inside is most important. It might be compassion, it might be truth, it might be creativity, love, freedom, integrity, growth, or even fun. Trust your heart on this. Now, I often do an exercise with my coaching clients to help them identify or uncover their values. But I don't want to dump too many practices in this video. If you're interested in learning how to do that, drop me a comment in the comments section and maybe I can do another video on that. Now, once you've named your three values, choose one small action for each, something you can do today that aligns with it. For example, if compassion is a value, maybe it's reaching out to someone you know is struggling. If integrity is a value, maybe it's keeping a promise you've been tempted to break. If growth is a value, maybe it's saying yes to something that challenges you or saying no to something that holds you back. At the end of your day, pause and reflect. Ask yourself gently, did I lead my life in a way that honored these values? Not perfectly, not always, but even in one small way. That reflection is where leadership grows. Because self leadership is not about getting it right every time, it's about awareness, alignment, and the willingness to keep choosing. As you continue this practice over time, you'll find that your values become like a compass. Even when life feels chaotic or uncertain, your compass is there, guiding you back to clarity and purpose. And that clarity becomes the foundation from which you lead, not just yourself, but naturally those around you. I want you to remember this. The leader you're waiting for isn't someone else. It isn't a mentor, a partner, a boss, or a role model. Those people may inspire you, but the true leader of your life is already within you. It's your own voice, your own integrity, your own courage. And the more you trust it, the more you step into the clarity and purpose that have been waiting for you all along. Leadership begins within. Awaken that leader, and your life begins to change in ways you can't fully measure. You'll notice it in your confidence, in the peace that comes from alignment, and in the way your choices rippled outward to touch the people around you. You will notice it in the strength you discover when challenges come. You will notice it in the way you stop needing permission to be who you are and start embodying it boldly with love and clarity. And when you do, you will find that you've been a leader all along, not because of a title, not because of power, but because you chose to live with purpose, with courage, and with authenticity. And there's no greater form of leadership than that. As we conclude the awaken aspect of the heart framework, I'm sharing a new workbook of this 30-day challenge. Empower your inner voice. Same as before, you can use the link in the description box below to download your free workbook now for more reflection and additional practice. If you haven't done so already, you can also find the workbooks for the healing aspect and the embody aspect using the same link. You've come a long way, beautiful hearts, and I'm so, so proud of you. I hope you enjoy this journey so far, and I'll see you tomorrow as we move into the next aspect of my heart framework, reconnect. See you soon.